Next up, we have Dan Lovejoy, who is actually the first person that Big Wing Interactive ever hired. He no longer works for Big Wing Interactive. He works for OG&E. Honestly, back then, we didn't deserve him, and that's been borne out by the fact that he went on to be their senior user experience architect, and he's since been promoted, just recently, to their innovation and UX leader / strategist, which is a title that only a state-run monopoly could come up with. It's sort of, it's kind of incredible. But he knows more about user experience than anybody that I've yet met in Oklahoma. And he's here to talk you through the foundational principles of user experience. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, David. One correction, we are an investor-owned utility, and we love all of you very much, especially if you are our customer. I'm afraid that I've stepped all over Brian's talk with my tweets that were scheduled to go out. So if you look at my tweet stream at Dan Lovejoy, you'll see a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about today. A lot of links. You don't have to write furiously. Those links will be on there for you. Today we're going to talk about user experience and how user experience and marketing interacts. But before you do that, you need to find out who is it who is sharing his wisdom from on high with you? Who is this super genius who has this awesome responsibility to impart unto you knowledge? I'm your idiot. Thank you. The truth is, the Lost Ogle hates everything. That's actually their job description, so it's okay. And the truth about our new website, OG.com, is that it ranks among the best websites in the United States for utilities. And it's doing very, very well. Our customers are really, really enjoying it. And I didn't build it by myself, so you'd have to fire a whole bunch of people if you want to fire all the idiots. The truth is, we used a lot of user experience research when we built the new OG.com, and that is playing out very successfully. What is user experience exactly, and why are we talking about it at a marketing conference? User experience is the interaction, or the intersection of user needs and business needs. Now imagine, if you will, a really cool sound effect. Pachoo! PowerPoint got classy and got rid of all the cool sound effects. No shooting guns, no typewriters, they're all gone. It's like they hired a user experience person at Microsoft. So when you talk about the intersection of customer needs and business needs, there are principles that you can follow. So, and this is on the Twitter stream, once again, here's 10 principles. And you know, I have a professor that says it doesn't really matter which principles you follow, just follow some. And I know that's terrible, like I'm a Christian, so I don't believe that, but find some principles and hold on to them. These are 10 principles, very important principles from Jacob Nielsen. You could put those up on your cubicle wall, follow those. You are doing awesome already. We followed some simple user principles at OG&E to try to meet our customers' needs and meet our business needs. So for example, when we put this giant paperless button on the page of all the customers who weren't already on paperless, guess what happened to our paperless enrollment? Hockey stick. That is a user experience principle. Offer customers something that they might want and make it very easy. And I tell you how easy this is to do. When you click that Go Paperless, one-click button. There is no friction. You want to eliminate as much friction as possible. Now, what we could do is require them to fill out a form, check a box that certifies they want paperless, send us a blood sample. We could do all kinds of things to make it harder for them to sign up for paperless. But why would we do that? Because if they go paperless, we don't have to send them a bill. We can save energy. We can save money. So we have made it incredibly easy to go paperless. In fact, so easy, before we actually put this into production, this is my grandfather's account. I was testing it, I hit that paperless button about 3 times, and my grandfather got 3 letters in the mail saying, "We hear you want to go paperless." We don't send those letters in the mail anymore. We learned from our experience. So the intersection of customer needs and business needs. What does the business want? What does the marketer want? If you listen to Brian, you know the marketer wants to know everything. Everything there is to know. So there's one place where UX and marketing aren't like peas and carrots, aren't like Oreos and milk. And that's when you're gathering information from the customer. This is kind of a typical form. And this is actually an example of an improved form. The first form was a lot worse. And look at all the fields on this form. Well, when I'm just signing up, this is actually for like a LinkedIn career type website. And it's all right there, right when you open it up and the customer sees it and they think, I don't have a list of all my certifications right here. I can't upload my photo. How many years of experience in what thing? You want to start off small by asking the small questions first and get them into the process. Today we're going to talk specifically about how to improve user experience in your forms. How to improve user experience in your forms. Here is our start service page on OGE.com. Now, if you are an OGE customer, you can log in and you can go to our start service page and play with this form. Please don't start service unless you're moving in somewhere, but you can go all the way through the form and look at the whole thing. Unfortunately, if you're not an OGE customer, you can't do that. So, very simply, we cannot, as of today, if you have new construction, requires an engineer and all kinds of complicated things you wouldn't even believe that you have to do. So we cannot serve you online if you need new construction. So what's the first question that we ask them? Heaven forbid they fill out this long form and they get to the bottom and it says, "Oh, sorry, this is new construction. Welcome to the DMV." So break it down into steps. Very, very simple steps. So first, well, hey, when do you want to start? When do you want to start service? And when can you start service? And it's really hard to tell on this, but the 1st of June is grayed out because you can't start service on that date. Too far in the past. Once you've chosen that, we want to know a little bit about you. Jonathan Frizzly Britches is a cool name. No doubt. Give them a reason to give you information that they do not want to give you. So, social security number, people don't want to give out their social security number. So, do you see that little blue link? When you click that, right there in line in the form, it doesn't take you anywhere else, it doesn't pop up, just pops down in the form, and it tells them why we have to have their social security number to give electric service. Step 3, tell us about where you're moving in. Tell us about your new home. And the best thing that you can do for us is get that meter number. Because if you have the meter number, we type that in and you're done. It's super easy. We don't have to match up addresses or anything. It's right there on the side of your house. However, the first option is, I don't know. Don't put an obstacle in the way. Can you imagine somebody is moving in from Maryland and they're trying to turn on their service in 2 weeks, and all of a sudden they need the meter number, and we're not going to let them go on without the meter number. So they're going to call up their landlord and say, "Hey, can you go?" That's not going to work. We have to empathize with the customer there. So there's some concrete steps for how to improve your form, break your form up, only ask for what you need what you absolutely need up front. So for example, with the sign-up form, what do you need right now? Blood type, right? No, you need their email address. That's what you need right now so you can follow up later. Get that. If nothing else, just get their email address. You're saying, "But Dan, I need to be able to segment them by age, by race, by how many children they have, by what church they go to, by their dog's name." I know, you're a marketer. You want to learn all the things. Resist that impulse and just get their email address first. Just get the minimum amount that you need to get the job done. You can always follow up because you're amazing, excellent marketers, and get that information later. Okay, so how do we do this UX process? How do we understand this? How do we make it happen? First, get a prototyping tool. So these are a couple of online prototyping tools. In the Twitch stream, I have links to 3 different online prototyping tools that you can use. They're cheap or almost free. Another prototyping tool that you can use, believe it or not, is PowerPoint. You all have access to PowerPoint. You can do quite a bit of prototyping and links between things using PowerPoint, especially if you're mocking up web pages. So get a prototyping tool. Unless you are like a super HTML front-end expert and it's just as quick for you to code something up as a prototype as it is to just sketch something in PowerPoint, that's fine. If you're that super ninja wizard, that's great. But if you're not, get one of these tools and you can start sketching things out. Oh, by the way, my favorite is called Axure. It's a desktop tool. It's also in the Twitch stream. Second, you need to remember that you are not the user. You are not the user. We'll get back to that a little bit later. What that means is that if you are, like Brian's customers, if you are a car dealer, you are probably not a regular car buyer. And even though you remember when you used to be poor and life was tough and things were different, you are not that person. I've gone to the call center before, and people in the call center tell me that we have a place on our website where it says if you've already paid once, it puts up a big warning and it flashes red. It says, "You have a pending payment. Are you sure you want to pay again?" And I've heard from people in the call center, people don't know what the word pending means. I know it's kind of crazy, isn't it? Like, pending is an easy word for us. For us, you are not the user. So we have to think about, well, what word can we use instead of pending? You already paid. That's all right. You already paid once. Are you sure you want to pay again? And not assume that they don't want to pay again, because some of them do. People do things for crazy reasons we'll never understand. We have to find out. We have to remember that you are not the user. This works in user experience, it works in marketing, it works in sales. And you also need to do some guerrilla research or some basic research about your user. When I say research to a marketing person, they say the F word to me. Do you know what the F word is? The F word of user experience is focus groups. Don't say that to user experience people, because it really hurts us in the kidneys. User research and market research are different things. So if you really want to understand the motivations and the emotions and what drives people, don't get them in a bunch of room where the loudest person tells them what they think, because that's what a focus group is. Focus group is useful for certain types of marketing information. It is not useful for ethnographic user research. Please, if you remember anything about that, just remember not to say the word focus group to me, because it makes me cringe. Do some real user research. And this article's on the Twitch stream as well. Guerrilla research. That means that you don't have to go out and get a huge budget. You don't have to go out and ask permission. This means that you go to people who don't understand your business, and believe they're all around you, right? They're at your house. People who have no idea what you do, even though you tell them. Kind of like Chandler Bing's friends. Like at the end of the series, what does he do for a living? He's a transponster. Remember that? You have a huge group of assets right around you of people who have no idea what you do. And you can put your designs in front of them and say, "Hey, what do you think about this? Can you make it through this? What confuses you about this? How does it make you feel?" And that's guerrilla research. That research is 1,000,000 times better than no research at all. Here is not what you're going to do. I do not want to hear this word from you anymore. What do you like? What do you like? I don't care what you like. I care what's effective. I care what works. I care what converts. I care what the customer likes. I don't care what you like. And your marketers, you'll hear this all the time. People will come to you and tell you, "I like this." And that's fine. That is a great place to start the conversation. But you are not the user. And the highest paid person in the room is certainly not the user. Go ahead. So whenever they say, I like such and such, you need to draw out from them, just like they're your customer as well, draw out from them, well, tell me what appeals to you about that. Do you think that's going to help us convert more? Do you think that's going to keep people on the page longer? Do you think that's going to help us make more money? And why do you think that? And then, when they bring what do you like to you, you say, well, let me just tell you what our research shows. You don't have to tell them, this is guerrilla research, and I did this with my 19-year-old neighbor and her friend who doesn't own a car or whatever. You don't have to tell them all the gritty details about your user research, but any user research is better than whatever some guy thinks who doesn't know what he's talking about. Am I right? Am I wrong? Any user research is better than just some guy who doesn't know what he's talking about. So here's your process. Mock it up. That's the Balsamic or the other online tools I showed you, or even PowerPoint. Test it with 5 people. 5 people. You don't need more. Jacob Nielsen says that once you get above 5, you're getting into diminishing returns. Once you've got to 5 people, you've reached 80% of the benefit. You might as well take those lessons learned and change it and test it again. Because once you got to 5, there's no point in going anymore. I've seen government contracts where they're testing 100 people. That's about 95% waste rate. So don't do that. Make it simple. Then fix it. Then push it to production. Push it live. And repeat the process. I want to tell you, if you don't test it, if you don't do research, it's not user experience. It's just a gut feeling. It's not a discipline. It's just skating with no backup, with no knowledge of what exactly is going on. You're not doing user experience. You might be doing some UI design, but whenever the executives come to you and ask you why you did that, you want to have a reason. You want to be able to tell them why you did it, and this is why. Because I did my initial research, I did my guerrilla research, I tested it, I fixed it, and I iterated. And you can do that with your forms. You can do that with your conversion pages. You can do that with anything. It is a useful, iterative technique. So one last thing I want to